What's the word? Arthur Moats here, joined by the WRAL Channel 5 producer, Mr. Mark Bergin. And of course, we are celebrating another victory. Pittsburgh still is taking care of business 23-9 versus the Cleveland Browns, advancing to 4-1, sitting atop of the AFC North as well. Mark, how are we feeling, baby? How we feeling?
Arthur, very good 4-1 start for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if not for the field at Acrisure Stadium, we would be singing Chris Boswell's praises and saying that what a field goal fest it was against the Cleveland Browns. But I open it up here. There were two huge takeaways that I had in this game. DK Metcalf, 4 straight games with the touchdown. You haven't seen a Steelers receiver do that since AB in 2018.
We got one.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then, how about Broderick Jones' best game at the left tackle position? Myles Garrett limited to 2 tackles. Aaron Rodgers not sacked in this one. So it's smooth sailing, and you're in a really good position in the division.
Mark, let the people know I did not talk to you or tell you anything. I didn't put the Broderick Jones bug in your ear or anything like that, right? This is just, we just started this out. And this is what was on your heart, correct? I had no influence on this, man. Zero influence. Sorry.
At least for today, if you subscribe to this channel, Arthur's been telling you back to the preseason. You've got an eye for this, Arthur, because you've been telling your listeners and viewers about what you've seen from Broderick and moving over from right tackle to left tackle, dating back to preseason. So that's something that's good on you, Arthur. And so, in terms of something you saw with 2 eyeballs, maybe 1 eyeball, I'm not sure.
But I like it though, man. I am glad to see that, you did obviously see that as well. But dude, DK was looking good.
Oh yeah.
And I like the fact that we actually were feeding him. We've talked about it at times where it's like, man, we'll see another team have a star player and it's like, man, they just keep throwing it to that player. And we're like, why don't we do that with our players? But we did that yesterday, even when Tyson Campbell, who I thought, when you hear the circumstances that he had, right? Played at Monday Night Football, find out that he's traded on Wednesday, gets into town, and then he's playing against DK Metcalf on Sunday. That is not an easy thing to do. And he made plays, forced a fumble versus Darnell Washington, has some good PBUs, but as a whole, it was just good to see our guy that we're paying win the majority of those matchups, winning when they mattered the most. And he looked good. Like, DK continues to look like a superstar, and that's the thing that we've been missing, but it feels good to have one, man.
Yeah, the trade Tyson Campbell for Greg Newsome. So Campbell right from the frying pan right into the fire. Go guard DK Metcalf. And it's good that, to me, that was a concerted effort from Tomlin, Arthur Smith, Aaron Rodgers. Go target that guy. He is brand new and see if he can stop you. And they went to that matchup again and again and again and again, and they took advantage. I look at the consecutive touchdown streak. So to me, that shows if you're an opposing defense, that is what you have to stop. And then everything else that the Steelers could do. I was concerned because with Calvin Austin III's injury, they said this on the broadcast, our guy Ian Eagle, and I had to double check everything. Going into the game, there was no other receiver on the roster who was healthy. So Calvin Austin III is the exception to this, who had more than 1 reception. And so I think that will need to change, but you're 4-1. It was keeping Rodgers upright. How about the play Rodgers had on the scramble, on the flip play to Jaylen Warren? Arthur, full disclosure for your listeners and viewers. I grew up a Bears fan. I saw Rodgers and Brett Favre do this to us for 2 or 3 decades. And it's so frustrating as a fan where he's like, we've got him dead to rights. He's right there. And just the flick of the wrist flicks it out almost like a point guard or almost like an option pitch on the completion to Jaylen Warren. It's frustrating as a fan, Arthur. I can't even imagine what that's like as an opposing defender.
Oh, absolutely. You're losing your mind because, TJ Watt has talked about it, and he has over 100 career sacks. Sacks are extremely hard to get. And there's so many variables that have to go right. It's not just, hey, I got off the ball fast and I beat my guy. Did your guys cover well? Was there a penalty on the field? And then you have all these things go right. Oh, you got him in your grasp and he can still just flip it away. And you're like, dude, what are you doing? Just go down. Stop. And you're taught as a quarterback to not do those things. So why would you be breaking these rules right now? Right. But that is one of the things that we appreciate having him here because of that. Very similar to when Ben Roethlisberger was here, and you would see, man, this dude isn't supposed to be fighting out of sacks. No, typically when these guys are wrapped up, do the Tom Brady thing. Just give yourself up, go down. But when you see this, yeah, everybody is pissed off. But for sure, as a player, you are pulling your hair out because you know how hard it was to get there. And I mean, even in this game, those dudes didn't even have a lot more opportunities after that either.
Yeah, I just going into this game, if you had told me Rodgers wouldn't be sacked, I would have been like, did he get injured at some point, or like, did something happen? Because Myles Garrett, you hardly heard his name at all. Now I know he's game plan 4, and that's something they even said post game. But the two other guys that got up front, Mason Graham, who was the number 5 pick, and then the other guy up front,
Malik Collins.
Malik Collins. That's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking of. So the fact that Rodgers, who's the NFL's oldest player, didn't get sacked once, that's good on the offensive line. And you had 100 yards rushing. And Arthur, I got one other thing before your question. It's the first game that the Steelers finally won TOP, time of possession. They had the ball for nearly 32 minutes in this one.
Yeah. So my thing is this. It was like, man, when you look at the ratings, right? Because a lot of the negative that does surround Broderick, people will bring up the PFF element of it, right? And then the flip side is you see how great Myles Garrett is from a PFF standpoint, right? Pass rush, win rate, and all these other things. But you watch this matchup head to head, and it's like, did we feel as if Broderick was the worst tackle in the NFL playing on that field? No, but the way that the ratings reflect, it's that he's the worst starting tackle in the National Football League. I just bring that up to once again, man, give people time, man. And don't just always trust what you're reading. All right. Sometimes just watch these dudes. It's not as bad as they be trying to make it sound. And it was a collective effort, man. All those guys up front. And this is the part where we look at a guy like Pat Meyer, who obviously has been under fire a lot. But it's like, man, to block a Myles Garrett, to block a Mason Graham, to block a Malik Collins, to block those guys up front for 4 quarters to where our quarterback isn't sacked. He's only hit 3 times. And then you look on the flip side at how many times Dylan Gabriel was sacked, how many times Dylan Gabriel was hit. And it's like, man, we are turning that corner. We are for sure going in the right direction compared to week 1, where we had a way different conversation, a way different feeling about this group. But that's the positive, and that's what you want to see. That arrow continue to be pointed up. And because I know you great on stats, post bye week, man. Coach Tomlin, this is his track record. He finds out what he's doing right and what he's doing wrong. And it's dang near impossible to beat this dude coming out the bye. The record reflects that. So to me, man, I just thought that all of those things really showed up. But the other part that I did want to hit on that you had spoke on, talked about the receivers, man. Yes, DK, Cook, and Hibachi with it, right? Obviously, we don't have the rest of the production. It was good to see Keyshawn Williams, though, step up in a return capacity. But the wide receiver 2, we do have. They play tight end. That's it. Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, Connor Hayward. Of those 4, I think that Arthur Smith and Coach Tomlin look at those 4 collectively as wide receiver 2. And you can see that with just the intentions from the targets. Darnell Washington specifically early on in the game, and the style of targets. They weren't the little, hey, go 3 yards to the flat. No, these were, I'm trying to scheme something up on you, and they had success executing it. Pat Freiermuth, a guy that we've said, hey, man, the production is kind of low when you think about how much money he's making. But they even found a way to get him the ball. Jonnu Smith, they still find ways to get him involved. And then we had a Connor Hayward, not just sighting, but a touchdown reception on a heck of a throw by Aaron Rodgers, might I add. But that's the way that I'm looking at this offense, is saying, yeah, I don't think that they look at wide receiver 2 traditionally with this group. I think they're looking at that tight end group as these are wide receiver 2s.
Mike Tomlin, 15-4 now out of the bye week. I was getting that stat for you, Arthur.
I see. I know you have. I know it. I'm like, yo, Mark always got the numbers for me, man.
Yeah, I'm with you about the receivers. I got one other thing with the grading in the stats. And look, the stats can help back your argument, but you got to
Yeah,
trust your eyes a little bit, especially when you've been watching for a long time, for several years. And that's where, yesterday you look at just the one game sample size of, well, TJ Watt's so much more effective than Myles Garrett, and he's better than Myles Garrett. They're both prolific. It's like Jordan.
absolutely, absolute animals.
It's the AFC
Yes,
North's Jordan and LeBron debate, to where
yes.
no either side's not really wrong.
Mark. They
Uh,
said Myles Garrett sucks. He has less sacks than TJ. TJ has 111 sacks. Miles has like 106 sacks. Like, bro,
yeah, they had the
what are we talking
graphic.
about, man?
They had the
Yeah.
graphic during the game, which pleased the Yinzers, where they did every statistical category since they
Yes.
come into the league, and TJ Watt was one in all of them, and Miles was like two or
Uh-huh.
three.
Yep.
And that's also for the fact that TJ's gotten the luxury of playing with Cam Hayward and some other
Mm-hmm.
talented players up front. I know Myles Garrett has to an extent. So there's sometimes you just got to trust your eyes. With the wide receiver too, Arthur, to me, the Steelers, they kind of telegraphed how they view the receiver position last offseason. So you remember they traded for Mike Williams a year ago. And I know he had the long touchdown. It was the game winner.
Commanders, yeah.
Yes, against Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I can't close my eyes and remember a single Mike Williams play in a Steelers uniform.
Yeah, absolutely
And
right.
so I'm looking at this right now. We're less than a month away. 4:00 Eastern time, November the 4th, is the NFL trade deadline. Even if you make a move to get someone acclimated to the playbook and their responsibilities, not when they're getting the football on just a mundane play when they're a decoy or they need to block, and the rapport you have to develop with Aaron Rodgers. Remember, Aaron Rodgers has been working out with DK even before he signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So to do all of that mid-season, while the jet's already in the air, it's like you already missed the plane and the plane's already in the air to try to get acclimated and up to speed. The Steelers, to me, have shown their hand in that maybe they called around a little bit to see what other wide receiver twos are out there. Maybe Calvin Austin III's shoulder injury isn't as bad as we think, and he's due back sooner rather than later. We've been trying to figure out who the receiver two is behind DK, because there comes the day where an opposing team shuts DK down with a stud corner or with safety help over the top. And then what are your counters? It is a concern of mine. But to expect the Steelers to do that, given their history of what they've shown you, they didn't do it when they had the bye week and more time to get that receiver ready. I'm not saying that they won't trade for a wide receiver too, but if they do, it's not going to have this type of impact that we might anticipate given what they've done in previous seasons, Arthur. That's just my 2 cents worth.
Listen, you're sounding too rational. That has way too much logic, okay? That makes way too much sense to think like that, Mark. You know we're not supposed to do that. We are not supposed to do that. We're supposed to look at the wish list.
Beckham, or
You come on, man.
Or
Look, he said, I'm serving my suspension. And when I'm doing my suspension, I'm ready to roll. Championship. Everybody knows this. Come on, man. What do you mean?
Arthur,
it's not gonna happen,
I'll
man.
put on the Superman cape. We'll turn back time and we'll go sign Keenan Allen. Even though he does the same things DK Metcalf does.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Bring him in here, man. All right.
Yeah. We're gonna time travel and go back and get one of the receivers.
I'm calling Amari Cooper up. I'm saying you're not retired anymore. I know you signed with Vegas, retired like 2 weeks later. I don't care. I know you've changed your mind. I know we passed on you a couple of times this offseason as well, but you're the answer, okay? You're the answer.
At this point, when Rodgers retires and rides off in the sunset, Pittsburgh Steelers, go sign Andrew Luck. Let's take this down the full rabbit hole, Arthur.
Hey, look, man, I dig it, baby. I can dig it, man. But you're right. And I think that is something that is very hard for, the passionate fans to grasp at times, because yes, we always look at what we don't have as that lucky lottery ticket, the answer, right? The special sauce. And it's like, yeah, we love the idea of the unknown, but there is still a flip side to that coin that, Yeah, Mike Williams, when we first traded for him, you feel like, yeah, he's going to hit the ground running. He's going to be our definitive number two, production through the roof, gives you the game winning touchdown the following week. And as you said, disappears after that. It's nothing that Mike Williams did wrong. It's just this is very challenging to do without a full offseason. That's the reason why you have OTAs, mini camp, vet mini camp, training camp, preseason. It's a buildup. It's a gradual, you're taking these steps trying to get to the mountaintop, but to just get parachuted in, you know, the third, fourth level up, and it's like, hey, hit the ground running and figure out what everybody else has already been working through. That's always going to be a challenge. And the guys that can do it and do it at an elite level, they're already employed. They're already paid. The guys that you say, hey, we don't need a lot of help getting AJ Brown the ball, of course, but he costs $100 million and multiple draft picks to go acquire. Hey, Devonta Smith, of course, but he costs $80 million and some draft picks to acquire. So the guys that can do, the quote unquote very, very challenging job, which is hopping in here on a moving train and just figure it out and then have the offense magically implement you as well. Those guys aren't available. The guys that are available, you're going to have those growing pains. You're going to have some workarounds. And that's partly why they are available. So I just think for us, we got to understand that. And I agree. There are certain nuances or certain things that could pop up down the line that could negatively impact us the way that we currently are built. But that's where you're looking and we're saying running game, you got to continue to develop. Because if a team can sit there and play two high shell or double DK, that means they are down a defender in the run game and we got to make them pay. Hey, if you're willing to say we're going to put this high-end corner on him and lock him up one-on-one, DK, you got $100 million. There should not be a man on this earth that can guard you one-on-one. That's the requirement when you get that type of money. I don't care if it's Patrick Surtain II. It doesn't matter. There isn't a guy that can guard you when you're getting compensated for that. Then the other part, it's like, yeah, man, tight ends. You mean to tell me Darnell, Muth, Janu, we're going to go roster for roster and we're circling linebackers and safeties and saying that they can guard you one-on-one for the duration of a game? We paying you guys too much money, specifically Muth and Janu. Y'all get paid too much money to have that be the case. So those are some of the back and forths that I'm interested to see as the season progresses, because trust me, there are going to be some teams that do decide to say, we're going to do whatever it takes to take DK Metcalf away this week. Make somebody else beat us. And that's where we're going to have to see these other guys. Can they step up or not? We don't know just yet. But the same way I believed in Broderick, the same way we've seen those guys up front kind of continue to overcome adversity, and even with one of the biggest tests on their slate to date, they passed it with flying colors. It's like, yeah, man, let's see when those tight ends get that test, or when DK gets that test, or when this old line gets that next test, how do they respond in it? But I'm willing to give them that chance though, because what have they shown otherwise for me not to believe in them? We talked about the record 4-1 right now, and done it in a multiple ways along the way also.
Interesting that you break it down as simply as just, okay, are there 7 men in the box when a defense is playing it too high with 2 safeties? Okay, be able to run the ball, have multiple tight ends on the field, pound the rock. If there's an 8-man box and DK's got the one-on-one on the outside, that he's got to win. And Arthur, I could see, like, as a player, just appealing to someone's ego, or it's like, are you that dude or not? The hair's standing up on my arm right now. I could show you if you want, of like, Arthur, I'm ready to roll. We got Coach Moats here in the building today. But
Mark, if I'm paying you $100 million, Mark, you don't pay $100 million to guys that can't win one-on-one routinely. Those are wide receiver 2s. They get paid $30 million. If you want to be wide receiver 2, we're going to pay you like wide receiver 2. If you want wide receiver 1 money, we don't look at TJ Watt when he gets one-on-one and say, oh, hey, good try, buddy. It was one-on-one. Good try. All right. No. If there aren't a tight end, slide protection, and running back chipping you, the expectation is sack. Not, oh, good job. No. Sack. Get home. He got 100 sacks as well.
Really good point. I just really hope DK stays healthy, Arthur. Like that's yes. In the back of my mind. I'm like, oh man, like we're kind of, I'll speak for myself. a little bit worried at times with this offense. Of just it's limited because it's so reliant on DK and the tight ends. If DK went down, it's like that's where my brain goes to a dark place. Keeping it on the positive note, though, you mentioned the tight ends. Very first play of the game, Darnell Washington is really starting to emerge. In advance of the game, I thought Mike Tomlin's quotes were extremely telling because people are saying, like me, what gives? You're paying Pat Freiermuth all this money. We're paying Pat Freiermuth money, Arthur. But when Mike Tomlin says, hey, when we're going up against 4-3 defenses, and he's got to block an edge that's 300 pounds, that's not fair to ask a 250-pound player to do that. He called an edge who's 300 pounds like this, just this, like, one of this nameless defender. He called them an animal, Arthur. So he goes, don't expect a 250-pound player to block that animal. So you have Darnell Washington who can do both, but you're allocating a lot of money to Pat Freiermuth, Arthur. And that's where I don't know. It's like, I don't know if he could potentially be a trade possibility just given the depth that you have at that position. But Washington is just starting to emerge in his young career because he's able to do it in a multitude of ways, not just in the receiving game, not just in the blocking game. And so it's what Mike Tomlin is saying going up against 4-3 defenses and what you'll continue to see. Aaron Rodgers, the very first tight end he always speaks about when he talks about the tight end room is Darnell Washington. And I'm at least glad that the Steelers are utilizing him for the fact that they see what a schematic advantage it is. And in a league full of elite athletes, he's elite of the elite. They were even talking on the broadcast how they were like, there's no way his listed playing weight is his actual weight when he's 6'7", probably 300 pounds and some change, Arthur. So the fact that they're using that schematic advantage to their advantage, good on the Steelers.
Yeah, absolutely. And trust me, the injury concerns about DK, we can go down the list with Darnell Washington as well, and even with Aaron Rodgers. Part of the rebuttal to the injury concerns is that's why you keep a Pat Freiermuth. That's why you feel like almost you have a surplus there, because if that only proven wide receiver goes down, without having to drastically change our offense or drastically depend on unproven players, you would go back to leaning on Darnell, Muth, and Jonnu. And that doesn't shift a lot of what you're already doing. And you feel way more confident in those three guys' ability to produce than you do right now with the receivers not named DK or Calvin Austin. So I'm back and forth with Muth in the sense of, yes, you could look at it as an asset that you could flip for a potential different asset. Or you can hold it and say, man, I'm either going to have an embarrassment of riches in this tight end room, and on occasion he's going to have his game where he can make plays. Or if injury happens, hey, man, we can lean on him even more. But I think I'd rather have that versus the alternative of, okay, you ship him out, you move on from him. We know how reliant we are on a DK Metcalf, and now something happens there, and now we really are screwed. Darnell is the best of both worlds between Muth and Jonnu when you're talking about could block better than Muth, runs routes, blocks better than, I said that backwards. But he's a better blocker than Muth, right? But Muth is a better route runner than him. Jonnu Smith, to me, runs routes better, but doesn't block nowhere near that level, right? And we're looking at Darnell, and it's like, yeah, you can give us a little bit of all of these things, but Jonnu still does certain things that Darnell can't do. Muth, to me, still is our most prolific down the grass route runner as a tight end. But part of why we do what we do when we bring up the 4-3 DN, yes, you have to have tight ends that can block those DNs. Otherwise, you can't run the ball versus 4-3 teams. As a former DN, the mindset is there isn't a tight end on this planet that can block you one-on-one in the run or in the pass. So it better be a 300-plus pound tight end that we would just treat him as extra O-lineman. And that's literally what the Browns did on that first play. And that's why we schemed him up and was able to run that route, because it was, hey, we have never done this. Everything we do at Darnell is block, block, block. Now the alternative is when teams play Darnell more traditionally. How's the response to that in terms of his ability to create separation? When you trick a team, it's easy to be open. He tricked those guys. It was easy. Great job by Arthur Smith. Great job self-scouting and then calling and executing it. But there's going to be a time where now you're no longer able to call that, because if you're like me, you've seen this, you say, okay, cool. They hadn't ran this all year. We hadn't seen Darnell Washington be off-ball move guy and then not be the insert block guy. So now we got to treat it as, okay, play it all, everything as is, and let's just see. Or are you going to blitz it now? Those are certain things that you start asking yourself, and that's the part with Darnell where you have to say, okay, well, we saw him make some catches. We also saw him not make some catches. Okay, we know he can create separation, but those are some of the things that Arthur Smith is going to have to be really fine-tuned in going forward. But that's the part where you still want to keep a Muth, because Muth can win those one-on-ones without any help around him. Jonnu Smith also can. So it's like, the extra that we have in there, I still lean on keeping that right now.
Yeah, I just think it would take time, and that
it would.
Phantom receiver to. I think all the Steelers exercised all of the possibilities in advance of the season. Like, we'll see, but even if they make a move, I don't think it's going to be something that would drastically impact the course of the season versus in relative to what you have right now. And it's not just the tight ends, Arthur. They've been using Calvin Anderson as an extra lineman on the line.
You see it? You see it?
A ton this year.
Yeah.
A ton.
Yeah.
A ton. And it's like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard the last few weeks, and Calvin Anderson checking in as an additional lineman on this play. I don't know if that's traditional, but given the 4-1 record, I think it's been at least relatively successful. I want to see the running game keep getting better and better. But again, I look at the 100 yards, and it's not that 100 yards is 200 or 300. But you finally won time of possession against a team that's not very good in the Browns right now. Defensively, I think that the defense is finally starting to round into the form for the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. So, Arthur, I'm with you on this actually, because to try to flip Muth over and say, let's bring in a receiver too, if you're going to make a move like that, it's got to work out heck of a lot better than it did a year ago with Mike Williams. And again, I'm not faulting Mike Williams on that so much as it is the reality of to get acclimated and everything that goes into the preparation well in advance of a season to actually have production and contribute towards your team's causes during the season.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making any sense at all.
No, you definitely are. And I would say too, man, the Steelers, they do have a little bit of a history of the extra O-lineman. Most recently, we talked about Zach Banner. He was the guy that was doing it, right? Then from Banner, we had Chris Hubbard. He was the guy, right? Hub would come in that thing, man, with those calls. Was it 32 Georgia Extra? He'd come in that thing, man, L Bell following up, and you're like, oh, it's about to be a beautiful day out there, man. So we do say, though, if you are that 6 offensive lineman, you got a great chance to get paid, because all of these dudes, when we start going down the history, we're like, who is our extra offensive lineman for the past 2 years here? All right, what happened to him? Well, he got paid. Oh, it was Matt Fowler at one point. He got paid also. Oh, it was Chris Hubbard at one point. The Browns broke him off nicely, right? Talk about Zach Banner. Zach Banner got paid here. Then he just got hurt. But it was like, yeah, that extra O-lineman, it matters because of how we utilize it. So it is cool to see Calvin getting those opportunities and producing. Because one thing to get the opportunity, it's another thing to produce. And it was good to see that. But
Arthur, I got a question.
Because I'm about to say
defense.
Because you know we got to get to that side.
I know we will. I do have a question for you. It won't be during the season. Do you want to see the Steelers move Darnell Washington to offensive line, from tight end to offensive line, like for the future? I'm talking here.
I think if the time comes, sure. And I think that honestly, from my eyes, has zero to do with our current offensive lineman, and it's going to solely be upon Darnell Washington's discipline. And that discipline is, you are big, but you're big in a good way. You can still move. That's fine. You got to make sure that you are managing that, because it's one thing to have that size and athleticism, but if you allow it to get out of hand, we all know how Lamar Woodley was. Think about how we view Lamar Woodley. And it was like, yeah, you are already big, but you're a great athlete. And then it got overboard. And we all could identify that. And we saw, even from a health standpoint, where he was no longer able to do certain things because of that. That's the part when I look at Darnell, I'm just like, be careful. I love where you're at right now. I don't think you need to move in there to that tackle spot, man. It all sounds good right now. I don't think you need to do that though, baby. You have a clear cut advantage where you can like do some real business on people, man, and they pay you nice over there. I think that that's his spot, man. I would say him to, make sure that you died and right, but stay there. I get the appeal though, because it's like, yeah, is it perfect at tackle right now? No. So we're gonna put the dude that has never done it. In fact, was a wide receiver in high school and then turned into a tight end. And that's the one. All right, cool. I'm just like, that'd be the thing for me. I'm just like, so the guy that has been breeded to do this after, just hey, cool. And then the one who has never, I'm just like, all right. I personally don't have the appeal for that. But listening to how Coach Tomlin said, he said, yeah, we could go into that now. And I'm picking up that part of like we can grow into it, meaning like you keep growing. Hey, bro, you go eat yourself into that tackle spot. You don't got to worry about it no more, man. And then, like I said, we crossed the bridge there. But I'm not just putting him in that thing right now, man.
No, you wouldn't do that midseason. I'm just curious. When I think about Darnell Washington, I think about when he was still at Georgia with Brock Bowers. And there's the play where he gets the ball on the flat and he turns it up 6'7".
Exactly what you're talking about.
And he jumps over a dude.
Yep.
Like for that
clear,
size, I'm just
clear
like,
huddle, clear huddle.
Like Arthur, I've never seen that before. So like if you moved him to tackle and you don't get to see things like that anymore, it seems like kind of a shame. It seems like kind of a waste to me. Yeah. But I get that left tackles are more highly compensated than say tight ends. Yeah. If it works out for the Steelers, I mean, Broderick Jones, Troy Fautano will be here for the next decade. Anyways, let's go to defense though. I want to talk about defense. It's
crazy. Broderick has his best game, and it's like, yeah, man.
Well, they talked about it during the broadcast.
It could be Darnell and Troy. I know, but it's just like Broderick is a first rounder in his own right. Like, what are we like? Just think about like our first rounder who was drafted to play left tackle. We've only seen him at left tackle for now 5 games. What?
Live math, everybody.
What?
Live math here on the pod.
I'm just like, man, I just don't know, man. I just don't know. I'm like, how do we get there? Because, I just think that in theory, it sounds so smooth. In theory, it sounds so easy. In theory, it's almost like if you just draft a guy in the first round, he's going to come in here and be perfect. It's like,
yeah.
I don't think that works the way that a lot of people are kind of like envisioning it. That's just from my perspective. And maybe it's because I'm too close to it in the sense of I've dealt with tight ends. I've dealt with tackles. I've dealt with the big tackles. I've dealt with the small tackles. You know what I mean? We've dealt with the big tight ends. You dealt with the small tight ends. And it's like, I know the ones that I think can go in there and really do that versus the ones where he's just like, dude, you seen Alex Highsmith? Have you seen Nick Herbig? Have you seen TJ Watt? Have you seen Jack Sawyer? I need to see it. I need to see it. I would love to be proven wrong, but I would need to see that one.
I loved how Dylan Gabriel just never looked comfortable yesterday, Arthur. And here's where I want to start.
52 pass attempts.
Yeah, for a rookie making his second start. Good luck. Now, I'll say this.
Mark, that is the recipe for disaster. Ask Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz threw it 46 times, right? It's like, yo.
I was going to say, I think 42 would have been a lot for Gabriel.
What are y'all doing, man? That is playing right into what the Steelers want you to do. Oh, my gosh, man.
Jalen Ramsey, though, is where I want to start. I didn't have it on my bingo card that he would have more sacks in this game than TJ Watt or Myles Garrett. And I love how he even said after the game, it's like I'm going to be telling my kids or grandkids one day that I played in a game where I had more sacks than either of those players. It's crazy. But the fact that he's able to find ways to make difference-making plays, even for the fact that I didn't even expect him to play coming off the hamstring injury. And, oh, man, the physicality he plays with, I love what I have seen from him at the cornerback position, and they're going to continue to need to rely on that because Joey Porter Jr. left the game with an injury, and along with Darius Slay. I hope they're both okay. I want to see this defense at full capacity, but Jalen Ramsey, man, the physicality at the cornerback position. A lot of times you think of Dion and the interceptions and all of that. Jalen Ramsey just plays with an edge, man, that I love to see it.
Love everything about what Jalen does on that field. And it's contagious. Watch how Darius Slay is tackling now. He never tackled like that. He's put his face in it. He's trying to hit stuff now. It's Jalen Ramsey effect. You watch JPJ out that thing try and walk over you. All right. Ramsey here, man. When you have a guy like Ramsey, a true just dominant player, a versatile player, but a guy that leads not just vocally, but through his actions, his play, it's contagious. You can't be a safety or a corner and not be willing to accelerate full speed and make a tackle when you're watching one of your highest paid players on your team do it routinely. Heck, I'm with you. I didn't even want him to play because of the hamstring. I'm like, yo, give it an extra week just to be safe. And it's like, man, you watch this dude and he's flying around. No sign of anything not being 100%. But that's why you pay a player like that. That's not a guy that's out here on vet minimum. That's one of the highest paid dudes on this team. But you pay that guy because of that. That's why when you make the trade and you send Minkah Fitzpatrick, we're not talking about, some run-of-the-mill safety. We talking about Minkah Fitzpatrick we moved on from. You can't move on from that unless you are getting this type of production, this type of player coming back. And that's Jalen. We said, man, both of those dudes, Minkah and Jalen, all pros, dominant players, generational talents, everything that you want to, put in there from an accolade standpoint. But we said Ramsey's just different in terms of how he does it. He's way more versatile. You could play him at outside. You could play him at the slot. You could play him at the safety. You watch him even on the sack, and it's like, yo, he's in coverage, but because he understands how to hug this rush, I can shoot this gap. I know I can go get this play right now. He's not afraid to make plays. He takes chances. And that's the beautiful part with the player like Jalen Ramsey. And so far, he's been staying healthy. And it's like, yo, if you can do that, you look at what he's doing production-wise. This is what an all-pro season looks like. This is what that is. For those that have never seen it, it's like, yo, man, what's all-pro corner? What's that? This is that. This is the production you get, man. Running game, pass game, leadership, energy across the board, man. And it's contagious. And I love that, man. Love that for this group.
It was great to get Alex Highsmith back as well, Arthur, because I look at all of these charts and all of the big chunk plays that have come against the Steelers defense have been opposite TJ Watt. It's been to the left side. So you get Alex Highsmith back, and that helps shore up the running game. And then it's not lost on me that Nick Herbig in, I say reserve role, but when you can put him out on known passing situations, he has 2 sacks. So you talk about the embarrassment of riches that the Steelers have at the tight end position, at the edge rushing position. They certainly have that now that they're full tilt there. And then what that does for the rest of the defense with the onslaught of pressure that you're able to put on Dylan Gabriel. I got to give a shout out to Alex Kozora over at Steelers Depot.
Shout out to Alex,
Depot
man.
has 17 sacks over the last 3 games, most over a single season 3-game span since 2020. It is a race to the quarterback, and I'll see you there, Arthur, to see who's going to eat first. That onslaught of pressure, man, I thought it was going to be an advantage for the Steelers going up against a rookie quarterback, but to get a lead and then to force Cleveland into passing situations, play after play after play after play, I think 42 passing attempts would be a lot, let alone 52, Arthur.
Absolutely. And Terrell Austin. Shout out to Terrell Austin. He understood that. But more importantly, the technique he's teaching. And that's the thing that I love. He's teaching the hug. And the hug rush is literally, yes, this is my man in coverage, but I don't have to sit back here 5 yards, 10 yards off of this guy and either allow him to help block somebody else or leak out into a route. I can go and rush through that person to the quarterback, and it creates a natural pressure. It's an add-on blitz. I'm still in coverage, so if that guy were to try to move, I got to make sure I'm on him. But because I'm aggressively attacking him, it makes him do what? think, hey, man, this guy's blitzing. I can't get out on the road. I got to stay here and protect. These guys have done that at a high level. Jalen Ramsey, you want to know the poster boy for that is Patrick Queen. Watch Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen is the king of the hug rush. He's in coverage the majority of the time, but he always looks like he's blitzing. Why? Because he's shooting it. He's like, yo, I don't have to guard you if I blitz you. It's the same thing that Vince Williams was doing when he was getting 10 sacks out here. I love to see that type of understanding, but it's also cool to see that from a coordinator's perspective, he's still teaching it. It's still an intentional part of it. And the way I know it's intentional is because it's not just PQ doing it. He does it the most frequently. He does it at the highest level, but you still see Peyton Wilson do it. Cole Holcomb comes in, he does it. You look at any of these safeties when they're matched up on these tight ends or a person in the backfield, they're shooting it. Deshaun Elliott, I'm like, yo, Elliott, you about to blitz on? Nope, he's just in coverage. Nope, but because of how aggressively they're playing it, and that's due to how it's being taught. That's due to the coordinator. That's what you're getting right now, and that's why this defense looks like how it does. But they're also healthier. Derek Harmon back out there, right? Healthier. We talk about Highsmith back out there, healthier. We had, at least to start the game, all of our corners, right? Ramsey, Slay, JPJ. It's like, man, that looked good. It looked good. Thornhill, Elliott, it looked good.
Yeah, Elliott's back. He missed some time.
He
led
good.
the team with 12 tackles.
Come on, man.
He's everywhere. He's
right.
everywhere.
We want to grade this team or make final judgments on this team when they're not even healthy or when they're going through the entry part of the season. It's like, now let's start to have opinions on this team, man. Now let's start to look at them.
If you don't allow a touchdown to an opposing offense, you should win that game. Mm-hmm. Every time. So the fact that they kept the Browns out of the end zone, that's not lost on me either, Arthur.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that is lost on me, and I hate to do it.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Grounds crew. Come
going.
On, man.
I'm nervous.
It's the grounds crew. All right. That's what's lost on me. Okay? Because if my man Boswell would have got hurt.
Were you nervous? Were you nervous about that at all? Did you think he was
in terms of getting hurt, or just in terms of what?
When he slipped and fell, just the way that his leg kind of twisted.
Anytime a guy falls and it's non-contact, I'm always nervous because if you've done this long enough, that's where the most devastating injuries typically happen. Non-contact, guy put his foot in the ground. That's why we are all so paranoid or even anal at times about footwear. What's the conditions? Is it turf? Is it grass? Am I in cleats or I'm in 7 studs or am I in turf shoes? Like, I need to know because the way that you grip can definitely have an impact on your career, not just that play, your career. So yes, that was absolutely the first thing that I noticed. And it was one of the things that we all, if you've played at, Acrisure, or even back when it was called Hines, you know how that field gets this time of year. Granted, you heard them saying that they're going to reside it, which is an improvement because back when we were doing it, that wasn't even the case. It was just, sand, dirt, spray painted. And it's, man, you got a high school game, you got a college game, and then Steelers play. So you knew certain cleats to wear, not to wear. That shouldn't be happening now. And I think it was just the unfortunate part that we kind of got caught in between them getting ready to redo it and us having that game out there. But very fortunate that he did not get hurt because that absolutely is how it happens. And you look around the league, there are more times where that happens and a guy does get hurt than it happens and he doesn't. So, yeah, I definitely was a little bit concerned. That's why you heard me say I hate to do it. But that was issue with that, man. Absolutely.
Can't lose Boswell. I'll say this. I've got my eye on the 2 corners, Slay and Joey Porter Jr. They just got JPJ back as well.
I know.
No Miles.
He was back and forth the whole game too, man. In terms of you would see him make a play, slow to get up. Make another play, slow to get up. Killebrew went down with a knee. It's like, dang.
So, especially on a shortened week, Arthur, I wanted to ask you this. I want to make sure I ask you this on this pod. What's it like from a player standpoint to have to try to play from Sunday and then go into that Thursday night game on a shortened week?
Well, you're one or two areas. You either know you're going to be able to make it, or you're praying to your lucky stars and whatever, higher being you believe in, that your body is magically going to be healed up by Thursday night. It sucks when you are the road team because I don't even get an extra day to hit all of my chiropractor, masseuse, active release therapist. You go down the list of everybody that you work with to get your body right. Most of us have a schedule. Most of us, you set the schedule prior to the season starting. So when you come to this Thursday night game, it's like, man, at least if you're home, you can get Monday and maybe Wednesday in, right? Wednesday at the hotel home, right? But when you're on the road, you don't even get that luxury. So you're looking at maybe one day tops, you know what I mean, two, but it's like a early two if you're trying to do something before you head out. So your concern is, man, am I physically going to be able to do this? And then you throw in the mental part. Okay, well, what are they doing schematically, right? What do we do well with? So all of these variables you're factoring in,
Is my
and that's
body
why we
going to
don't.
hold up?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more so you are more concerned about your body holding up than you're worried about the opponent, and that's the crappy part about Thursday night games. We've been hollering about this though since they've introduced Thursday night games. It's too much money involved, so we get it. When there's money involved, the player health and safety that we all care about, all the mommies and daddies and the fans that holler about CTE, that holler about, hey, man, don't you hit that guy like that? It's like, man, give it a break. Because we know at the end of the day, the bottom line matters more than any of these other things that we throw out. And the Thursday night game is clear proof of that. So we get it. It sucks, but it's like, man, you ain't about to get no sympathy. You're not about to get a handout. So either you can make it or you pray to your lucky stars to do whatever it can to get your body close enough to be out there and pray that you can stay out there the whole time. But we know what this Thursday night game is, man. This is the war of attrition. Yeah. So cut your eyelids off in the words of Coach Tom. Don't blink, baby.
Well, and the reason I mentioned all of this too with the two corners, I want those corners going up against the receiver Cincinnati has. It's as simple as that.
Oh, yeah. And trust me, getting them to the stadium is priority one for Terrell Austin. But at the same time, man, them dudes know what that is. Hey, if you can survive it, survive it. All right. Other than that, this is why you keep a Alex Highsmith, a Nick Herbig, a Jack Sawyer, a TJ Watt, a Cam Hayward, a Derek Carver. You say to yourself, hey, look, man, them guys is leaking oil a little bit. All right. You know what this matchup is for them. Y'all got to feast this last game. Y'all should be coming to this matchup a little bit more healthy. We got to lean on y'all.
Yeah, and
that's the team part. Yeah.
And not to mention the Bengals have now lost 4 consecutive games.
Yeah.
So
but
you're going into this one against a veteran Joe Flacco who's you talk about getting acclimated, still getting acclimated. And the reason why, like Arthur, I want to savor in the victory Monday just as much as you, but with the shortened week, my brain's like, we're on to Cincinnati already because Thursday's going to be here before you know it.
I was going to ask though, why is that the thing though? Because it's not just you. It's not. But it's like, if it's a negative, we bask in that negative. We wallow in it. We stay in it. We live in it. We appreciate that negative for a whole 7.5 days. But when we win, it's always like, all right, gotta get to the next one. What's the next one? It's like,
I don't know. I will
why
say
can't
this.
we appreciate it, man?
I will say this.
Where your toes at, man?
I like that.
Like, where your toes at? Come on.
To me, it's also what you can do just to continue to further to move up the AFC North Division rankings. And I see that, say what you want about the Steelers, whether you think that they're a true AFC contender or not. If you're a Steelers fan, just look at the division. The division this year, Arthur, it's almost as if the AFC North did a body swap with another division this year because you can criticize the Steelers all you want to.
Okay.
But at least at 4-1, you're sitting a heck of a lot prettier than what we've seen from the
Baltimore?
Bengals.
Where's Baltimore right now? What's Cleveland right now?
They scored 3 points.
You catch what I'm saying?
I mean, I've got this at the end of my notes. I think Baltimore scored 3 points. This isn't baseball. Awfully hard to score when you scored 3 points total.
Yeah.
Justin Fields with -10 net passing yards. He had more sacks. He had more sacks than, just as many sacks, 9, as he did completions in that one. So I look at the teams in the division, some of the teams that you expected to be better in the AFC at 4-1, sitting pretty. I'm very happy to be where we're at right now. And it's like, for me, Arthur, it's as simple as this. The reason why mentally I think you say, okay, we're on to Cincinnati is you keep someone down while they're down. Is at least that's my thought process. And then Thursday's the next opportunity that you have to do that.
I like it though. And trust me, I could dig it. What they say though, and I always get this whenever we upload content to YouTube, they always hit me with you've uploaded this many videos for the month, but be mindful of your rest. You got to have that work-life balance, okay? So if it's always go, when do you ever just... I actually prepared a good meal today. Like you gotta appreciate yourself at some point, baby. That's all I'm saying, baby. All right. Otherwise, you gonna burn yourself out, okay? Otherwise, you look like, yo, what happened? We fell off the cliff somewhere, man. How did we go 11-0 and then we just do? Gotta appreciate it on occasion, man. Just on occasion.
Let me go, John Draper, on you, Arthur. Get out of here and move forward.
Let's go,
going
baby.
Full
Let's
Don
go.
Draper maddening on you. It's just like we're moving forward. We're moving forward.
But I could dig it though, man. So with that though, man, any final thoughts though from this game, man, before we wrap it up officially?
Do we see Dylan Gabriel again when the next time the Browns and Steelers play?
Ooh.
Is it going to be Gabriel? Is it going to be Shador? What does that look like? And from Pittsburgh's standpoint, I know you're sitting pretty, but I've seen this through 5 games now. Aaron Rodgers, you could see why he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. And the takeaway is it's not, it wasn't what it was at his peak in Green Bay, but it's the game management. It's the flip play. It's managing the clock. It's understanding what you need to do to win that game. The 0 sacks, we can compliment the offensive line. It's his understanding that, hey, Myles Garrett, one of the biggest game wreckers in the NFL, is off the edge. What do I need to do to execute? What do I need to do to make sure my team is successful? And that's not lost on me. So we're lucky, Arthur, to have the season that we've had thus far through 5 games with Aaron Rodgers. Keep that going, and I expect the Steelers to win Thursday night against the Bengals, against a division right now that is sputtering, and the Steelers are ascending. They're the one team in the division that's doing that, and I want to see at what point, because even in advance of this game, the Ravens were still the favorite to win the division. The Steelers, at what point do those odds flip because of the lead that they're building in the AFC North? And Thursday presents the next opportunity to do that. But you beat a Cleveland Browns team that you should beat. You beat them handily. And then the next time that they play, it's going to be Gabriel. Is it going to be Shador? That's what I'm looking at, Arthur.
I like it. Well, selfishly, I hope it's Dylan Gabriel again. All right. Because I don't want Shador to have to deal with this right now. Okay. So let's keep it on Dylan. But other than that though, man, I like your energy, baby. I like it. I feel like we hot right now, man. And all you can do is, win the ones that's in front of you. So yeah. I would still rather be lucky than good, because the Ravens are a good team. The Bengals, they are a really good team, all right, because their quarterbacks are nice. They can score a lot of points. So with that, though, man, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. And hopefully next time me and you do this Friday morning, we'll be doing it after another victory, baby, all right? And we'll have a lot more time to enjoy that one because it's a long weekend. Just throwing it out there, all right, Mark? Just throwing it out there. But if we lose, Can we 24-hour that thing too? I want to, you know what I mean? Just be safe, okay? Because Thursday, it can get weird on Thursdays. Just throw it out there. Thursdays is weird days, okay? It's weird football on Thursday nights, man. Super weird. But as always, though, man, appreciate the heck out you, man. Take some time, man, to jump on. Talk, man. You already know the drill, too. If y'all enjoyed it, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know in the comment section how y'all felt about this matchup, man. How did y'all feel? What stood out to you guys? And, are y'all team once again? Man, quick turnaround. Let's focus on that next opponent. We don't need to spend a lot of time worrying about a victory versus the alternative where, I do kind of like to enjoy my 24 hours of that dub. I would have spent a little time with that win, man. Gotta party a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But either way, we appreciate y'all. And until next time, baby, peace.